This video is sponsored by Zoology app. Zoology app provides a lot of material about zoology for free. Link is in the description. Let's start the video. The young are born in less developed condition. A. Monotrams. B. Marsupials. C. Placentals. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Limbs of sea cows and sea lions are the product of A. Convergent evolution. B. Divergent evolution. C. Parallel evolution. D. None of these. Correct answer A. In these animals the teeth are reduced to molars without enamel or no teeth are present. A. Moles. B. Bats. C. Sloths. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Only hind limbs are lost in A. Snakes. B. Whales. C. Bats. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Among the following, which snake is non-poisonous? A. Cride. B. Python. C. Viper. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Which one is excluded from the phylum Chordata? A. Eurychordata. B. Hemichordata. C. Cephalochordata. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The earliest known species of birds is A. Archaeopteryx. B. Hesperornis. C. Ichthyornis. D. None of these. Correct answer A. A muscular diaphragm helps to move air into and out of the lungs in A. Amphibians. B. Reptilians. C. Avians. D. Mammalians. E. None of these. Correct answer D. Chiasma formation could be seen first time in the following stage/substage of meiosis. A. Leptotene. B. Zygotene. C. Pachytene. D. Diplotene. Correct answer B. In protein synthesis each triplet code binds itself with one. A. Leptotene. B. Zygotene. C. Diplotene. D. None of these. Correct answer B. For the rapid production of antibody in the precipitate test involving a rabbit, one of the following animals could be used. A. Frog. B. Lizard. C. Fowl. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Crossing over rarely or never takes place in the male of A. Mice. B. Poultry. C. Man. D. Drosophila. Correct answer D. XXY individual in Drosophila is phenotypically A. Male. B. Female. C. Intersex. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Fossils of which of these first living organisms were found? A. Protozoan. B. Algaea. C. Virus. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Which of these are exclusively functional proteins? A. Hormones. B. Enzyme. C. Plasma. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Phytogeny represents the history of an organism. A. Evolutionary. B. Embryonic. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Sickle cell trait is found in A. Homozygous. B. Heterozygous. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The first living and respiring organism on Earth were A. Aerobes. B. Anaerobes. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The major portion of digestion takes place in the A. Stomach. B. In the small intestine. C. In the large intestine. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Practically all absorption of digested food occurs in A. Large intestine. B. Small intestine. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Sibling species are produced as a result of A. Allopatric speciation. B. Sympatric speciation. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer A. In the days just after its formation, the Earth had A. Reducing atmosphere. B. Oxidative atmosphere. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Zygotes containing XY are females in A. Drosophila. B. In moths. C. In grasshoppers. D. None of these. Correct answer A. The Y chromosomes is sexually neutral in A. Man. B. In Drosophila. C. In moth. D. None of these. Correct answer D. In which stage of meiosis centomere of each dyad divides? A. Metaphase I. B. Metaphase II. C. Anaphase I. D. Anaphase II. E. None of these. Correct answer B. Chylome is the body cavity originating from A. Ectoderm. B. Mesoderm. C. Endoderm. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Cytopharynx is the structure present in A. Amoeba. B. Paramecium. C. Euglena. D. Foraminifers. Correct answer B. Gemmules are the reproductive structures produced in A. Sponges. B. Annelids. C. Arthropods. D. Coelentrates. Correct answer A. Comb plates are very specific structures of A. Coelenterate. B. Arthropoda. C. Ctenophora. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Nerve net is present in coelenterates at A. In endodermis. B. Below upper epidermis. C. In mesoglia. D. Not present in coelenterates. Correct answer B. Circulatory system in insects is A. Closed type. B. Open type. C. Lymphic type. D. All of these. Correct answer B. Silk is produced by silkworm. A. Larva. B. Adult. C. Pupa. D. All of these. Correct answer A. The basic function of a flame cell is A. Excretion. B. Osmoregulation. C. Digestion. D. None of these. Correct answer A. The basic function of a flame cell is A. Excretion. B. Osmoregulation. C. Digestion. D. None of these. Correct answer A. The scale in fishes are A. Ectodermal. B. Endodermal. C. Mesodermal. D. Different in different fishes. Correct answer C. The neck of a camel has vertebrae. A. 14. B. 9. C. 7. D. 20. Correct answer C. Spiders are arachnids and they have legs. A. 6. B. 8. C. 9. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Gill slits in chordates are present in A. Mouth. B. Pharynx. C. Esophagus. D. All of these. Correct answer B. Birds are flying and have ovaries. A. One on right side. B. Both on right and left side. C. One on any side. D. One on left side. Correct answer D. Adult echinoderm has symmetry. A. Bilateral. B. Radial. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The typical characters of all mammals is A. Mammary glands. B. Brain. C. Hair. D. All of these. Correct answer D. Mouth in shark is located A. Dorsal. B. Ventral. C. Anterior end. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The number of ribs in frog are A. 4. B. 6. C. 8. D. None of these. Correct answer D. Earthworm are dissected from side A. Dorsal. B. Ventral. C. Both A and B. D. Lateral. Correct answer A. Duck-billed platypus is A. Bird. B. Placental mammal. C. Monotreme. D. Marsupial. Correct answer C. Silverfish is a member of A. Pisces. B. Insects. C. Echinodermata. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The chemical composition of a chromosome is A. Lipoprotein. B. Polysaccharide. C. Nucleoprotein. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Lysosomes are responsible for A. Protein. B. ATP formation. C. Intracellular breakdown. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Ribosomes are located on A. Cell membrane. B. Rough endoplasmic reticulum. C. Mitochondria. D. Nuclear membrane. Correct answer B. The metaphase chromosomes are thick because these A. Multiply. B. Duplicate. C. Coiled coiling. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Glycolysis occur in A. Cytoplasm. B. Mitochondria. C. Cell membrane. D. All of these. Correct answer A. Nerves convey the message in the form of A. Physical impulse. B. Chemical impulse. C. Electrical impulse. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Follicle stimulating hormone is produced in A. Ovary. B. Pituitary. C. Hypothalamus. D. All of these. Correct answer B. The primary excretory product is A. Ammonia. B. Carbon dioxide. C. Feces. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Pepsin is responsible for digestion of A. Carbohydrate. B. Lipid. C. Protein. D. All of these. Correct answer C. XXY individual in men is phenotypically A. Male. B. Female. C. Intersex. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Sex-linked genes are located on A. Only on X chromosome. B. Only on Y chromosome. C. Sex chromosome. D. All of these. Correct answer A. Mendelian segregation is applicable to A. Gametogenesis. B. Meiosis. C. Spore formation. D. None of these. Correct answer A. The number of the alleles of a gene in a diploid individual is A. Any number. B. 1. C. 2. D. 3. Correct answer B. The gene mapping is measured in A. Millimeters. B. Microns. C. Angstrom. D. Centimorgans. Correct answer D. Genetic dominance concerns with the phenotypic expression in A. Heterozygous. B. Homozygous. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer A. The first living organism was A. Algal cell. B. Virus. C. Bacteria. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Enzymes are chemically A. Carbohydrates. B. Lipids. C. Lipoproteins. D. Proteins. Correct answer D. Theory of natural selection was initially proposed by A. Darwin. B. Wallace. C. Both Darwin and Wallace. D. Ill. Correct answer A. Second law of thermodynamics demand. A. Energy stability. B. Energy loss during transfer of energy. C. Energy flow from one form to another. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The basic purpose of ecosystem is A. Maintenance of organisms. B. Energy flow. C. Chemical movements. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Contractile vacuole in protozoa is basically responsible for A. Excretion. B. Osmoregulation. C. Feeding. D. All of these. Correct answer B. Nematocysts are typically present in A. Porifera. B. Annelida. C. Coelenterata. D. Protozoa. Correct answer C. Pinacocysts are present in A. Echinodermata. B. Arthropoda. C. Porifera. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Nerve cord is dorsally located in A. Annelids. B. Mollusca. C. Arthropods. D. None of these. Correct answer D. Open circulatory system is present in A. Annelids. B. Insects. C. Reptiles. D. Mammals. Correct answer B. Sponges are present in A. Marine. B. Freshwater. C. Moist places. D. Both A. and B. Correct answer D. Telsin is present in A. Annelids. B. Arthropoda. C. Molluscs. D. Chordates. Correct answer B. Antamoeba histolytica is a member of class A. Scyphozoa. B. Polychaeta. C. Mastigophora. D. None of these. Correct answer D. A housefly has legs A. 8. B. 10. C. 6. D. 4. Correct answer D. Wasps bite using A. Mouth. B. Proboscis. C. Genital claspers. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Number of cranial nerves in fish A. 10. B. 12. C. 8. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Frog has rabies A. 6. B. 12. C. 4. D. None of these. Correct answer D. Scales in reptiles are A. Ectodermal. B. Mesodermal. C. Both A and B. D. Endodermal. Correct answer A. Gill slits in Amphioxus are present. A. Mouth. B. Neck. C. Pharynx. D. Head. Correct answer C. Giraffe has neck vertebrae. A. 15. B. 10. C. 7. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Duck-billed platypus has on its body A. Feathers. B. Hairs. C. Scales. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Pulmonary vein in mammals carries blood. A. Deoxygenated. B. Oxygenated. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer B. RBCs in amphibians are A. Nucleated. B. Without nucleus. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Python kills its prey by A. Poison biting. B. Constriction. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The location of mouth is ventral in A. Bony fish. B. Permisaon. C. Shark. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Cell membrane is chemically A. Nucleoprotein. B. Lipoprotein. C. Lipid. D. Protein. Correct answer B. ATP is produced in A. Golgi complex. B. Lysosome. C. Mitochondria. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Transcription is the phenomenon involved with A. mRNA formation. B. Binding of amino acid. C. DNA replication. D. All of these. Correct answer A. Glycolysis occurs in A. Endoplasmic reticulum. B. Cytoplasm. C. Mitochondria. D. Golgi bodies. Correct answer B. Centromere in a chromosome is heterochromatic as it A. Do not divide. B. Helps chromosomal attachment with the spindle. C. Do not go a regular change in the cell cycle. D. All of these together. Correct answer D. Neurotransmitter are involved in A. Nerve transmission. B. Synaptic transmission. C. Chemical transmission. D. B and C. Correct answer D. Pepsin is the chemical involved in A. Protein breakdown. B. Carbohydrates breakdown. C. Protein synthesis. D. Lipid breakdown. Correct answer A. Food is assimilated into the body from digestive tract in A. Esophagus. B. Stomach. C. Small intestine. D. Rectum. Correct answer C. Excretory product is produced through the breakdown of A. Protein. B. Carbohydrates. C. Lipid. D. All of these. Correct answer A. Basic process of respiration occurs in A. Lungs, B. Mitochondria, C. Blood circulation, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Principle of segregation is applicable to A. Heterozygous individual only, B. Homozygous individual only, C. Diploid individual, D. None of these. Correct answer C. XXY individual in man is phenotypically A. Female, B. Male, C. Super female, D. Super male. Correct answer B. Sex linkage concerns with the gene A. Responsible for the development of sex, B. Associate with some sex, C. Located on X chromosome only, D. Located on sex chromosome. Correct answer C. Cystrin is the smallest part of the chromosome working as A. Mutational unit, B. Functional unit, C. Recombinational unit, D. None of these. Correct answer B. First living organism on this planet was A. An algal cell, B. A virus, C. A protozoa, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Darwin's theory of natural selection believe in selection of A. The fittest, B. Fitters, C. Better adapted individual, D. All of these. Correct answer D. The raw material for evolution comes from A. Mutation, B. Chromosomal aberration, C. Recombination, D. All of these. Correct answer A. A group develops to adapt a number of diverse niches. The phenomena is called as A. Convergent evolution, B. Divergent, C. Punctuated evolution, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Linnaeus was the father of classification and was A. Not believer of evolution, B. Strong believer of evolution, C. Believer of limited evolution, D. Believer of natural selection. Correct answer B. The autonomic nervous system comprises of A. Sympathetic nervous system, B. Parasympathetic nervous system, C. Both A and B, D. None of these. Correct answer C. In turtles, the dorsal plate is known as A. Carapace, B. Plastron, C. Scutex, D. None of these. Correct answer A. The odd-toed ungulates are termed as A. Perissodactyls, B. Artiodactyls, C. Pterodactyls, D. All of these. Correct answer A. The functional kidney of adult fishes is A. Pronephros, B. Mesonephros, C. Metanephros, D. None of these. Correct answer A. The telencephalon and diencephalons are part of A. Midbrain, B. Hindbrain, C. Forebrain, D. All of these. Correct answer C. The sense organs of taste in tongue are known as A. Olfactoreceptors, B. Gustatoreceptors, C. Cutaneous receptors. Correct answer B. The process of cartilage formation is known as A. Chondrioblasts, B. Chondriocytosis, C. Chondriogenesis, D. None of these. Correct answer C. Significant flight muscles in birds is A. Pectoral, B. Appendicular, C. Tensor, D. All of these. Correct answer A. Typical character of a mammal is A. Hairs, B. Mammary glands, C. Only A, D. Both A and B. Correct answer D. Body wall of Obelia is A. Monoblastic, B. Diploblastic, C. Triploblastic, D. None of these. Correct answer B. The arrangement of the organs of an animal in a series of similar units along the longitudinal axis of the body is called A. Pseudometamerism, B. Perimetamerism, C. Metamerism, D. Prometamerism. Correct answer C. The white blood corpuscles of the cockroach are called as A. Hematocyte, B. Hematoclast, C. Hemoblast, D. Leukocyte. Correct answer A. Hormone which control molting in insects is A. Cortisone, B. Ecdysone, C. Ectocortisone, D. None of these. Correct answer B. In silicon water leave the sponge through A. Ostia, B. Osculum, C. Madreporite, D. All of these. Correct answer B. Flame cells are commonly found in A. Platyhelminthes, B. Annelida, C. Coelenterata, D. All of these. Correct answer A. The number of vertebrae in horse neck are A. 5, B. 6, C. 7, D. 10. Correct answer C. The group in which RBCs are mostly non-nucleated. A. Amphibians, B. Birds, C. Mammals, D. All of these. Correct answer C. Cockroach is dissected from side A. Dorsal, B. Ventral, C. Lateral, D. Both A and B. Correct answer A. Heart of fish is A. Open, B. Single circuit, C. Double circuit, D. Both B and C. Correct answer B. Roundworms belong to A. Platyhelminthes, B. Annelida, C. Centipedisa, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Chemical composition of ribosomes is A. DNA, B. RNA, C. DNA and protein, D. RNA and protein. Correct answer D. Electron transport chain is located in A. Cytoplasm, B. Mitochondria, C. Lysosomes, D. Nucleus. Correct answer B. Transcription involve the synthesis of A. mRNA, B. rRNA, C. tRNA, D. all of these. Correct answer A. XXY individual in Drosophila, fruit fly, is A. male, B. female, C. sterile, D. all of these. Correct answer A. Ecological niche is of an individual. A. address, B. profession, C. both A and B, D. none of these. Correct answer C. Crossing over involve the formation of A. Desmontostomata, B. Chromonemata, C. Chiasmata, D. all of these. Correct answer C. Attachment of O2 with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin is a change. A. physical, B. chemical, C. both A and B, D. none of these. Correct answer C. Acetylcholine is A. chemical transmitter, B. electrical transmitter, C. physical transmitter, D. none of these. Correct answer A. In blood groups gene IA and IB are A. codominant, B. co-recessive, C. dominant recessive, D. incomplete dominant. Correct answer A. The idea of Lamarck on evolution is based upon A. use and disuse of organs, B. acquired character, C. both A and B, D. none of these. Correct answer C. Ammonia is the excretory nitrogenous waste. A. primary, B. secondary, C. tertiary, D. none of these. Correct answer A. Special functions of smooth endoplasmic reticulum is A. lipid synthesis, B. glycogenolysis, C. detoxification, D. all of these. Correct answer D. In birds, sex is determined by the type of A. sperms, B. eggs, C. both A and B, D. none of these. Correct answer B. The prehistoric atmosphere of Earth had A. methane, B. ammonia, C. hydrogen sulfide, D. All of these. Correct answer D. Linnaeus proposed the method of naming organisms. A. Uninominal. B. Binomial. C. Trinomial. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Trypsin is protease secreted in A. Bile. B. Saliva. C. Gastric juice. D. Pancreatic juice. Correct answer D. Cerebellum is the part of brain. A. Forebrain. B. Midbrain. C. Hindbrain. D. Spinal cord. Correct answer C. The constriction of centromere is called as A. Primary. B. Secondary. C. Tertiary. D. All of these. Correct answer A. Gene for hemophilia in man is located on A. Autosome. B. X chromosome. C. Y chromosome. D. All of these. Correct answer B. DNA duplicate during A. Prophase. B. Metaphase. C. Telophase. D. Interphase. Correct answer D. What is the function of contractile vacuole? A. Respiration. B. Reproduction. C. Osmoregulation. D. Digestion. Correct answer C. Specules are secreted by special mesenchymal amoebocytes called A. Scleroblasts. B. Microscleres. C. Myocytes. D. Coloncytes. Correct answer D. True nerve cells or ganglion cells occur for the first time in A. Protozoa. B. Porifera. C. Coelentrata. D. None of these. Correct answer D. The process by which an organism can replace its lost or damaged body parts is called A. Reformation. B. Regeneration. C. Reclamation. D. Reconstruction. Correct answer B. Nematocysts are found in A. Protozoa. B. Porifera. C. Annelida. D. None of these. Correct answer D. In Polychaetes the locomotory organ is A. Pseudopodium. B. Neuropodium. C. Notapodium. D. Parapodium. Correct answer D. Worms belonging to phylum Platyhelminthes are commonly known as A. Roundworms. B. Ringworms. C. Segmented worms. D. None of these. Correct answer D. Bipinnaria is the larval form of A. Coelentrata. B. Polychaeta. C. Echinodermata. D. Cestida. Correct answer C. Closed type of circulatory system is found in A. Platyhelminthes. B. Annelida. C. Porifera. D. Arthropoda. Correct answer B. The two common mosquito genera Anopheles and Culex can be easily identified by A. Color, B. Flying speed, C. Size, D. Sitting posture. Correct answer D. Sweat glands are epidermal glands found in A. All birds, B. Reptiles and mammals, C. Mammals only, D. Birds and reptiles. Correct answer C. Sternum is absent in A. Mammals, B. Birds, C. Amphibians, D. Fishes. Correct answer C. Amphioxus belongs to A. Cephalochordata, B. Hemichordata, C. Urachordata, D. Cyclostoma. Correct answer A. The urachordates or tunicates are marine animals commonly known as A. Sea cucumber, B. Sea squirts, C. Sea urchin. Correct answer B. Optic lobes are found in A. Forebrain, B. Midbrain, C. Hindbrain, D. Medulla. Correct answer B. The number of cervical vertebrae in most mammals is A. 2, B. 4, C. 9, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Lymph hearts are absent in A. Fishes, B. Amphibians, C. Reptiles, D. Mammals. Correct answer D. The lymph capillaries coming from intestinal villi are called A. Veins, B. Lymph nodes, C. Lacteals, D. Lymph ducts. Correct answer C. How many caudal vertebrae are found in man? A. 1 to 2, B. 3 to 4, C. 5 to 6, D. 7 to 8. Correct answer B. The inner membrane of the two fetal membranes in reptiles, birds, and mammals is called A. Chorion, B. Amnion, C. Peritoneum, D. Pericardium. Correct answer B. Which part of the brain detects the temperature changes in the blood? A. Cerebellum, B. Cerebral hemisphere, C. Hypothalamus, D. Medulla. Correct answer C. From which of the following is urea formed? A. Fat, B. Glycerol, C. Proteins, D. Starch. Correct answer C. Where are hormones destroyed? A. Adrenal gland, B. Kidney, C. Liver, D. Pancreas. Correct answer C. During the beating of the heart, in which region will the highest pressure develop? A. Left atrium, B. Left ventricle, C. Pulmonary artery, D. Right ventricle. Correct answer B. Which molecules are produced by the digestion of starch and proteins? A. Glycerol and amino acids. B. Glycerol and fatty acids. C. Sugar and amino acids. D. Sugar and fatty acids. Correct answer C. Which type of the cell stimulates the release of adrenaline? A. White blood cell. B. Muscle cell. C. Pancreatic cell. D. Red blood cells. Correct answer B. Which secretion, released into the alimentary canal, contains no enzyme, but speeds up fat digestion? A. Bile. B. Intestinal juice. C. Mucus. D. Pancreatic juice. Correct answer A. Which of the following normally enters the blood as it passes through the pancreas? A. Amino acids. B. Glycogen. C. Insulin. D. Lipase. Correct answer C. Which of the following is the example of discontinuous variation? A. Blood group. B. Height. C. Intelligence. D. Weight. Correct answer A. Which of the following would be more prominent in a secretory cell than in the non-secretory cell? A. Golgi apparatus. B. Mitochondria. C. Ribosomes. D. Pinocytic vesicles. Correct answer A. Which of the following is both found in DNA and mRNA? A. Ribose. B. Thymine. C. Sugar phosphate chain. D. Double helix structure. Correct answer C. Which is carried by the molecule of transfer RNA? A. An amino acid molecule. B. Enzymes for protein synthesis. C. Information from the DNA. D. Sequence of codons. Correct answer A. The populations of all the species in a given habitat are referred to as A. Biosphere. D. Community. C. Ecosphere. D. Ecosystem. Correct answer D. Which of the following is not recycled in ecosystem? A. Carbon. B. Energy. C. Sulfur. D. Water. Correct answer B. In most ecosystems, the greatest amount of energy flows through the A. Secondary consumers. B. Herbivores. C. Carnivores. D. Decomposers. Correct answer D. During which phase of meiosis are chiasmata formed? A. Prophase I. B. Metaphase II. C. Metaphase I. D. Telophase II. Correct answer A. Who proposed the mutation theory of evolution? A. Lamarck. B. Darwin. C. De Vries. D. Wallace. Correct answer C. During which phase of meiosis do homologous chromosomes separate? A. Prophase I. B. Prophase II. C. Anaphase I. Correct answer A. In a DNA molecule, the bases of pyrimidine are A. Thymine and cytosine. B. Cytosine and guanine. C. Adenine and thymine. D. Thymine and guanine. Correct answer A. Triassic and Jurassic periods are included in the A. Paleozoic era. B. Mesozoic era. C. Cenozoic era. D. Proterozoic era. Correct answer B. Choanocytes are found in A. Coelenterate. B. Annelida. C. Porifera. D. Arthropoda. Correct answer C. Housefly is a common insect having underlegs. A. 4. B. 6. C. 8. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Silverfish is included in A. Pisces. B. Arthropoda. C. Annelida. Correct answer C. Number of vertebrae in neck of a giraffe are A. 10. B. 5. C. 7. Correct answer C. Flame cell is typical of A. Annelida. B. Chordata. C. Porifera. D. Platyhelminthes. Correct answer D. Nervous system originates from A. Epidermis. B. Mesodermis. C. Endodermis. D. None of these. Correct answer D. Mammals are characterized by A. Mammary glands. B. Hair. C. All of these. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Nucleus is not present in RBC of A. Fish. B. Snake. C. Bird. D. None of these. Correct answer D. Scales in fish derive their origin from A. Epidermis. B. Mesodermis. C. Endodermis. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Sound in insect is produced through A. Mouth. B. Tracheal movements. C. Wing beat. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Sole of foot in man has a location. A. Dorsal. B. Ventral. C. Lateral. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Chylome in adult mammals is represented by A. Visceral cavity. B. Cavity in brain. C. Both of these. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Skeleton in insects is A. Exoskeleton. B. Endoskeleton. C. None of these. D. Both of these. Correct answer A. Seahorse is included in A. Mammals, B. Fish, C. Reptiles, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Circulatory system is open type in A. Annelida, B. Insects, C. Mammals, D. None of these. Correct answer B. The body cavity is regarded as pseudocele in nematodes because A. Has ectodermal origin, B. Not completely lined by mesodermal epithelium, C. Has endodermal origin, D. None of these. Correct answer B. True metameric segmentation is characteristic of A. Molluscs, B. Annelida, C. Arthropoda, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Hollow dorsal nervous system is present in A. Mcqs, B. Fish, C. Mammals, D. All of these. Correct answer D. Contractile vacuole in protozoa is mainly responsible for A. Excretion, B. Osmoregulation, C. Respiration, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Scorpion is included in A. Insects, B. Arachnida, C. Echinodermata, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Cell membrane is formed of A. Carbohydrate, B. Lipid, C. Protein, D. Lipoprotein. Correct answer D. Electron transport chain reaction occur in A. Cell membrane, B. Cell wall, C. Endoplasm, D. Mitochondrion. Correct answer D. Ribosomes in cell are responsible for A. Protein formation, B. Glycolysis, C. Lipid breakdown, D. All of these. Correct answer A. Golgi complex is responsible for A. Carbohydrate metabolism, B. Protein synthesis, C. Lipid synthesis, D. All of these. Correct answer D. Basic excretory chemicals in all the cells is A. Urea, B. Uric acid, C. Ammonia, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Oxygen transport from lungs to tissue occurs through A. Difference in pressure, B. Solubility in plasma, C. Attachment with RBC surface, D. None of these. Correct answer C. FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, is produced in A. Ovary, B. Hypothalamus, C. Pituitary, D. None of these. Correct answer C. Lipase is an enzyme responsible for A. Carbohydrate metabolism, B. Lipid breakdown, C. Protein breakdown. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Law of segregation is applicable to A. Homozygous individual. B. Heterozygous individual. C. Both homozygous and heterozygous. D. None of these. Correct answer D. Sex-linked genes concern A. Sex characters. B. Somatic character. C. Mostly somatic character. D. None of these. Correct answer A. XXY individual in man is a phenotypic male, because A. 2 X chromosomes are present. B. Y chromosome is present. C. Both X and Y chromosomes are present. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Trisomic condition can be produced through A. Primary non-disjunction. B. Secondary non-disjunction. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer A. First living organism on this planet was A. A protozoan. B. An algae. C. Bacteria. D. A virus. Correct answer C. Theory of natural selection was proposed by A. Charles Darwin. B. A.R. Wallace. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Lamarck's theory of inheritance of acquired characters says A. Environment forces a character. B. Environment selects a character. C. Environment has no effect. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Orthoselection means A. Selection occurring at different times. B. Selection occurring at different rates. C. Selection occurring in one direction. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Haeckel's biogenetic law says A. Ontogeny repeats phylogeny. B. Phylogeny repeats ontogeny. C. None of these. D. Both A and B together. Correct answer A. Ecosystem is a system involving biotic and abiotic components which A. Interact. B. Interact for energy flow. C. No interaction. D. None of these. Correct answer B. Nitrogen biogeochemical cycle is regarded as gaseous cycle because A. Nitrogen is a gas. B. Recycling is almost complete. C. Major part of cycle is in gaseous state. D. None of these. Correct answer A. Raw material for evolution are variation, which are produced through A. Gene mutation. B. Chromosomal aberration. C. Both A and B. D. None of these. Correct answer A. The disease-causing protozoan is A. Amoeba. B. Paramecium. C. Stentor. D. Trypanosoma. Correct answer A. Binucleate protozoan is A. Mastigoamoeba, B. Toxoplasma, C. Didymium, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Spicules in sponges are secreted by cells called A. Chromocytes, B. Thessocytes, C. Scleroblasts, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Which one of the following coelenterate is also called Portuguese man of war? A. Hydra, B. Villela, C. Obelia, D. Physicalia. Correct answer D. Pseudocoelomate animals are A. Coelenterates, B. Nematodes, C. Annelids, D. Arthropods. Correct answer B. Earthworm belongs to phylum A. Platyhelminthes, B. Nematode, C. Mollusca, D. None of these. Correct answer D. The number of arms in octopuses: A. 4, B. 6, C. 8, D. 10. Correct answer C. The excretory organ of cockroach is A. Flame cell, B. Nephridia, C. Coxal gland, D. None of these. Correct answer D. The compound eyes are present in A. Cuttlefish, B. Sea urchin, C. Sea mouse, D. Honeybee. Correct answer D. Balanoglossus belongs to A. Hemichordata, B. Cephalochordata, C. Urachordata, D. Craniata. Correct answer A. The extinct vertebrates are A. Elasmobranchi, B. Placodermi, C. Osteichthyes, D. All of these. Correct answer B. The type of scales found in shark is A. Placoid scale, B. Ganoid scale, C. Cosmoid scale, D. Cycloid scale. Correct answer A. All of the following animals have three-chamber heart except A. Uromastix, B. Snake, C. Wall lizard, D. Crocodile. Correct answer D. An animal group having radially symmetrical adults but bilaterally larvae are A. Annelids, B. Echinoderm, C. Chordates, D. All of these. Correct answer D. Which one of the following is not an extraembryonic membranes? A. Pleura, B. Amnion, C. Chorion, D. Allantus. Correct answer A. The egg-laying mammals such as duck-billed platypus and spiny anteater are found in A. Asia, B. North America, C. South America, D. Australia. Correct answer D. Renal portal system is absent in A. Mammals, B. Fish, C. Amphibian, D. Reptiles. Correct answer A. Swim bladder is present in A. Amphibia, B. Giant turtle, C. Sea snake, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Diencephalons is a part of A. Circulatory system, B. Excretory system, C. Nervous system, D. Respiratory system. Correct answer C. Microlecithal egg is found in A. Reptiles, B. Birds, C. Amphibian, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Which one of the enzyme is present in saliva? A. Ptyalin, B. Pepsin, C. Enterokinase, D. Lipase. Correct answer A. Besides nucleus of cell, which organelles also contain DNA? A. Golgi bodies, B. Lysosome, C. Mitochondria, D. Cell membrane. Correct answer C. Lysosome in a cell is responsible for A. Autolysis, B. Autophagy, C. Intracellular digestion, D. All of these. Correct answer B. ABO blood system in human is example of A. Epistasis, B. Linkage, C. Polygenic inheritance, D. Multiple allele. Correct answer A. Who describes sex linkage in Drosophila? A. Sutton, B. Garth Nicholson, C. Jonathan Singer, D. None of these. Correct answer D. The number of cranial nerves in man is A. 8, B. 10, C. 12, D. 14. Correct answer C. Wings of birds and fly are example of A. Homologous organ, B. Analogous organ, C. Vestigial organ, D. All of these. Correct answer A. The main chemical composition of ribosomes is A. RNA and protein, B. DNA and protein, C. Protein and carbohydrate, D. Protein and lipids. Correct answer A. The hormone cortisol is secreted by A. Pituitary gland, B. Ovary, C. Pancreas, D. Adrenal gland. Correct answer D. In pond ecosystem the primary consumer are A. Zooplankton, B. Insect larvae, C. Fish, D. All of these. Correct answer D. The XX, XO sex determination mechanism is present in A. Man, B. Grasshopper, C. Birds, D. All of these. Correct answer B. The DNA replication is A. Conservative, B. Semi-conservative, C. Dispersive, D. Equatorial. Correct answer B. Which one of the following genetic disorder is dominant in man? A. Color blindness, B. Hemophilia, C. Tay-Sachs, D. All of these. Correct answer D. The abiotic factor that brings sudden changes in ecosystem is A. Light, B. Soil, C. Inorganic nutrients, D. Fire. Correct answer A. In human, blood clotting is due to the presence of protein called A. Albumin, B. Globulin, C. Hemoglobin, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Male sex hormones are collectively known as A. Estrogen, B. Androgen, C. Cortisone, D. Somatotrophic. Correct answer B. Which one of the following is not a membrane-bound cell organelle? A. Mitochondria, B. Endoplasmic reticulum, C. Ribosome, D. None of these. Correct answer D. The enzyme pepsin is present in A. Pancreatic juice, B. Bile, C. Saliva, D. Gastric juice. Correct answer D. The change in species composition of a community over a long period of time is called A. Food chain, B. Food web, C. Ecological succession, D. Niche. Correct answer C. Limbs of sea cows and sea lions are the product of A. Convergent evolution, B. Divergent evolution, C. Parallel evolution, D. None of these. Correct answer A. In these animals the teeth are reduced to molars without enamel or no teeth are present. A. Moles, B. Bats, C. Sloths, D. None of these. Correct answer C. Only hind limbs are lost in A. Snakes, B. Whales, C. Bats, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Among the following, which snake is non-poisonous? A. Kite, B. Python, C. Viper, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Cell membrane is formed of A. Carbohydrate, B. Lipid, C. Protein, D. Lipoprotein. Correct answer D. Electron transport chain reaction occur in A. Cell membrane, B. Cell wall, C. Endoplasm, D. Mitochondrion. Correct answer D. Ribosomes in cell are responsible for A. Protein formation, B. Glycolysis, C. Lipid breakdown, D. All of these. Correct answer A. Golgi complex is responsible for A. Carbohydrate metabolism, B. Protein synthesis, C. Lipid synthesis, D. All of these. Correct answer D. Basic excretory chemicals in all the cells is A. Urea, B. Uric acid, C. Ammonia, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Oxygen transport from lungs to tissue occurs through A. Difference in pressure, B. Solubility in plasma, C. Attachment with RBC surface, D. None of these. Correct answer C. FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, is produced in A. Ovary, B. Hypothalamus, C. Pituitary, D. None of these. Correct answer C. Lipase is an enzyme responsible for A. Carbohydrate metabolism, B. Lipid breakdown, C. Protein breakdown, D. None of these. Correct answer A. Law of segregation is applicable to A. Homozygous individual, B. Heterozygous individual, C. Both homozygous and heterozygous, D. None of these. Correct answer D. Sex-linked genes concern A. Sex characters, B. Somatic character, C. Mostly somatic character, D. None of these. Correct answer A. In birds, sex is determined by the type of A. Sperms, B. Eggs, C. Both A and B, D. None of these. Correct answer B. The prehistoric atmosphere of Earth had A. Methane, B. Ammonia, C. Hydrogen sulfide, D. All of these. Correct answer D. Linnaeus proposed the method of naming organisms A. Uninominal, B. Binomial, C. Trinomial, D. None of these. Correct answer B. Trypsin is protease secreted in A. Bile, B. Saliva, C. Gastric juice, D. Pancreatic juice. Correct answer D. Cerebellum is the part of brain A. Forebrain, B. Midbrain, C. Hindbrain, D. Spinal cord. Correct answer C. The constriction of centromere is called as A. Primary, B. Secondary, C. Tertiary, D. All of these. Correct answer A. Gene for hemophilia in man is located on A. Autosome, B. X chromosome, C. Y chromosome, D. All of these. Correct answer B. DNA duplicate during A. Prophase, B. Metaphase. C. Telophase. D. Interphase. Correct answer D. What is the function of contractile vacuole? A. Respiration. B. Reproduction. C. Osmoregulation. D. Digestion. Correct answer C. The odd-toed ungulates are termed as A. Perissodactyls. B. Artiodactyls. C. Pterodactyls. D. All of these. Correct answer A. The functional kidney of adult fishes is A. Pronephros. B. Mesonephros. C. Metanephros. D. None of these. Correct answer A. The telencephalon and diencephalons are part of A. Midbrain. B. Hindbrain. C. Forebrain. D. All of these. Correct answer C. The sense organs of taste in tongue are known as A. Olfactoreceptors. B. Gustatoreceptors. C. Cutaneous receptors. Correct answer B. The process of cartilage formation is known as A. Chondrioblasts. B. Chondriocytosis. C. Chondriogenesis. D. None of these. Correct answer C. Significant flight muscles in birds is A. Pectoral. B. Appendicular. C. Tensor. D. All of these. Correct answer A. Typical character of a mammal is A. Hairs. B. Mammary glands. C. Only A. D. Both A and B. Correct answer D. Body wall of Obelia is A. Monoblastic. B. Diploblastic. C. Triploblastic. D. None of these. Correct answer B. The arrangement of the organs of an animal in a series of similar units along the longitudinal axis of the body is called A. Pseudometamerism. B. Perimetamerism. C. Metamerism. D. Prometamerism. Correct answer C. The white blood corpuscles of the cockroach are called as A. Hematocyte. B. Hematoclast. C. Hemoblast. D. Leukocyte. Correct answer A. Hormone which control molting in insects is A. Cortisone. B. Ecdysone. C. Ectocortisone. D. None of these. Correct answer B. In silicon water leave the sponge through A. Ostia. B. Osculum. C. Madreporite. D. All of these. Correct answer B. Flame cells are commonly found in A. Platyhelminthes. B. Annelida. C. Coelenterata. D. All of these. Correct answer A. The number of vertebrae in horse neck are A. 5 B. 6 C. 7 D. 10. Correct answer C. Open vascular system is found in A. Man B. Fish C. Prawn D. Snakes. Correct answer C. Animal possess canal system. A. Sponges B. Annelids C. Mollusk D. Echinoderms. Correct answer A. Incomplete divided ventricle can be seen in the heart of A. Amphibians B. Reptiles C. Crocodiles D. Fish. Correct answer B. Heart of crocodile is A. Single-chambered B. Two-chambered C. Three-chambered D. Four-chambered. Correct answer D. Pulmonary artery originates from A. Right ventricle B. Right auricle C. Left auricle D. Left ventricle. Correct answer A. Deoxygenated blood is carried in A. Pulmonary artery B. Pulmonary vein C. Carotid artery D. Aorta. Correct answer A. The pacemaker of the heart. Hint: SA node-AV node and his Purkinje fibers. A. Bundle of his B. AV node C. SA node D. Purkinje fibers. Correct answer C. Which of the following is different from others in the absence of muscular coat? A. Arteries B. Veins C. Capillaries D. Arterioles. Correct answer C. Pulse speed is measured from A. Artery B. Vein C. Capillary D. Nerve. Correct answer A. The membraneous covering of the heart is A. Meninges B. Pericardium C. Pleura D. Peritoneum. Correct answer B. Edema is caused by A. Increased in capillary pressure B. Increased permeability of the capillary walls C. Decreased rate of return of lymph D. None of these. Correct answer C. Blood pressure is measured by A. Electrocardiogram B. Stethoscope C. Clinical thermometer D. Sphygmomanometer. Correct answer D. Blood flows through sinuses in A. Open circulation B. Portal circulation C. Closed circulation D. Systemic circulation. Correct answer A. Blood vessels taking from the lungs to the heart are A. Pulmonary artery B. Aorta C. Portal veins. D. Pulmonary veins. Correct answer, D. Which organ receives only oxygenated blood? A. Lung. B. Liver. C. Spleen. D. Gill. Correct answer, C. Thanks for watching.